Would you believe me if I say that I had an STI? An STI at the age of 22. 21, about to turn 22. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kia Mutlame and this is Let's Chat with Kia and today we are here to have those chats. It's story time today. Yeah, like you got to see with the title of this video that your girl had an STI when she was only 21, about to turn 22. Right. So how did we get there? The mistake that we women make is having unprotected sex with the people that we trust, obviously with our lives, and the only thing that we worry about mostly is pregnancy. That's if you're not planning to be pregnant. When get to the end of the month, you get your period, then you are sort. 3 months down the line, there are signs of STI. With me, I was in a relationship with this wonderful person. The relationship was good when it lasted, and I'm not gonna come here and lie and say that it ended on a bad note. I'm not gonna come here and lie and say that this person cheated or maybe I cheated. It just got messed up, I think, because of the long distance relationship. So 2012, I was staying in Joburg. I've been staying in Joburg until early this year, when I lost my job and I had to move back home. Joburg is expensive, you get. So beginning of 2013, I came to Northwest because I needed to study. So while I was studying here, I think beginning of February, I started seeing things that were unusual. And I'm saying that like all the time, the mistake that we women make is worrying about pregnancy. When you get your period at the end of the month, then you are good to go. So I think with me also it was the same situation, where, like, obviously countless unprotected sexual intercourses that obviously led to me having an STI. I was dating just one person. Let's get this one thing clear now as we begin. I was just in a relationship with this one person. I've never been a kind of a person to cheat or to have multiple partners. I'm a lady with values. I've got principles, you name them. So I guess unfortunately I got comfortable and I started having sex with this partner of mine without a protection. And then early February, I started discovering things that I've never seen before. I actually had what they call HPV. It's human papilloma virus. So there were basically things that were appearing on my skin down then. They were really not painful. There was nothing unusual except that. So I remember cutting two for the first time. Like I said, it was not painful. The only time I saw blood coming out was after cutting that. I think they reappeared again after about 2 weeks. I cut them again and I stopped cutting. That was the last time I cut them. So I will just put pictures of those. I mean, obviously not my pictures, but pictures that I'm gonna take from the internet to show you what HPV looks like. I'm obviously not gonna put pictures of genitals. Obviously, I'm just gonna put pictures of what looks like. And then I stopped cutting them, and obviously after that, many of them started coming out. Many of them started appearing on my skin, and I kept it to myself. First time I went to the clinic, because I was staying in Mafikeng in town. I went to the Unit 9 clinic. Hi Unit 9 people. I went to the clinic, Unit 9, the nurse who attended me told me that I have an STI. I think I knew that I had an STI. I'm not sure what happened with my camera, but anyway, I said, I was saying that I knew that it's an STI. I just needed somebody who's going to say to me that you have an STI. I needed somebody to confirm to me that this is an STI and maybe tell me the kind of an STI that it is. I mean, we've been taught from primary school. The primary school that I went to, nurses used to come to teach us about safe sex, and they would give us what is called IEC material so that we can be able to read for ourselves, obviously when we are at home. And I used to see this. I mean, it's not that I did not know, like I'm just saying that I needed somebody to say that, dude, this is what's happening. Okay, fine. And she said to me, she gave me medication and said to me, if these things do not go away, you're gonna have to go to the hospital to have them removed. The genital area is the most sensitive part ever for me, because yay, the thought of having these things removed, I'm just thinking obviously a medical procedure. Fine. So I went to the clinic for the second time. There were now so many of them, like it was as though they were going to close the hole. I remember coming home and I had to tell my mom that, dude, listen, this is what is happening. That was the most difficult thing to do. That was the most awkward position to ever be in, ever in my life. I mean, remember, I was young. I was only 21, going to turn 22 later that year. So she took me to the doctor, a GP. And the doctor said, like, she was there with me in the doctor's room. The doctor checked me, and then it was so uncomfortable. I mean, having to take off my clothes and having the doctor check me in front of my mom. We leave, we get into the car, we're coming home, and my mom is like, are we going to talk about what the doctor said? And I said, eventually we will talk about it. I was just not ready at that time. So we sat down, we spoke, and she said to me, what am I going to say to your dad? I said, I feel like at this point, we don't have a choice but to tell him, because I think, like the other nurse said, at some point, if this does not go away, I'm going to have to go to the hospital. So what are we going to say I'm doing in the hospital to my dad? So I said, it's fine, you can tell him. Dude, I remember after that, we went to another doctor. I think it was a couple of weeks later, we went to another doctor, who then referred me to the hospital. And I felt like being unfair. This was another difficult time at that time that I was living in town. My mom was here at home, and she would have to, every time when I had an appointment in the hospital, she would catch a bus in the morning to accompany me to the hospital. Without fail, every time when I had an appointment, except when I was going to be admitted. Obviously, there was no point for her to be in the hospital with me. Every now and then when I needed to go see the doctor, she would come with me. Some of those time was in the middle of winter, so you can just imagine. I felt like if as children we could just listen to our parents, we could avoid so many of these things. Okay, fast forward to September, when I was on medication. Not the doctor's medication, but the medication that I got from the hospital. I started becoming sick. My body didn't want anything to do with that medication. I was just sick all the time. I remember not being able to eat. I remember vomiting all the time. I remember being so flipping weak almost all the time when I take the medication, and there was no way I could stop taking the medication. I remember I asked this other lady who's also a nurse. We have a personal relationship. I asked her, what is happening, and why is this medication making me sick? She said, you have no choice but to take the medication, even though it's making you sick, because it's going to help you flush out the virus, not even the virus, man, the infection from your system. Not a problem. I continue taking the medication. I lose appetite. The only thing that I wanted to eat at that time was soft the white soft porridge, and also not even a lot. I would ask for juice, they would give me a juice, I wouldn't even finish a glass. Even the porridge, I wouldn't even finish. I would eat the porridge just so I can take my medication, because I remember there was a time when I took my medication without eating and I vomited so much. And now when I became sick, that's when I asked my mom to tell my older siblings. Okay, my other older sister already knew. So I asked her to tell my other older sister. She was told, so they were basically taking care of me. But every now and then I had to go back to my Mafeking because, like I said, I was schooling. I remember there was a time around September, it was so windy. I was sleeping outside because obviously here in Northwest it's super hot. I was sleeping outside, it was so windy. I remember I got up, I wanted to check if it's possible for me to get up and come into the house because I was sleeping. Yeah, my camera is just doing, I don't know what, but anyway. I was sleeping outside in the veranda, and I checked the distance from there to here, and I said, I'm not going there. And then I slept again. As windy as it was, dusty as it was, I said, I'm not going into the house. And like, that's just how difficult it was. I looked back and I said, I could have avoided all of this. But unfortunately, you get into a relationship, and without trust, there is absolutely no point of being in that relationship. And I'm still gonna say again that this person, if he cheated, I wouldn't know, but it could be that he had came out from another relationship when he started the relationship with me, and maybe that's where the STI was born. Also, the most difficult part about this whole thing is that this person was never there for me. Firstly, I told him that I had an STI, and then I asked him to go get tested. He said he does not know what he's going to say to his parents. It's going to be difficult to ask for money to be able to go to the doctors. Meanwhile, I, the school child, I mean, I'm not saying that it was okay, but also he's just a year younger than me. So he was born 1992, I was born 1991. I'm able to say to my parents, who were both not working at that time, that I need money to go to the doctor. Every now and then when I have to go to the hospital, they give me money to go to the hospital. And this person who is, okay, let's not go there, but anyway. So I think also I did not expect him to give me money. He was not working at the time. He was also studying, long distance studying. I needed just one thing from him. I needed his emotional support. Because every now and then, without fail, I would tell him that I have an appointment with the doctor. I have an appointment at the hospital. And I have to be the one coming back to him and say, this is how it went at the clinic. This is how it went at the hospital. This is how it went at the doctors. Me feeding him the information that I don't think he wanted to even know about, the information that I don't think he cared about. We loved each other. I'm not sure exactly if maybe the STI is what ruined what we had. But I look at where we both are at the moment, and I have absolutely no regret whatsoever. I'm like, it's okay. I feel like I had to go through that. I mean, we're coming to another thing now. Because I felt like, firstly, I felt like God was punishing me for having sex out of marriage, because I think at that time I said, now I understand why we kind of have to wait for marriage in order to have sex, so we can avoid all of these STIs. Because I think if life was like that generally everywhere, that everyone has to wait for marriage before they have sex, we would be here. We wouldn't be worrying about STIs, we wouldn't be worrying about HIVs and whatnot, because we'll be sleeping with just one person or having sex with just one person. Okay, fine. I remember for the first time I was admitted in the hospital, and we could not go through with the procedure because apparently there was some electrical faults at theater, so we were not taken to the theater. So we were actually released on the day, we were discharged on the day, and we were given a different date in the middle of exams, and I failed. Anyway, I remember I was admitted again for the second time, and the following day we were again discharged because they said they do not have water in the theater. It's risky to take patients there. Okay, fine. I was so sad for the second time because now I need to prepare for exam, but this is what I keep on getting. Okay, fine. I remember coming back and I said, I need to pray, I need to fast. I remember I was supposed to start on a Monday for a week, a 6 to 6 fasting, and it's 6 a.m. 6 p.m. and then I continue again the following day. Guess what happened Sunday afternoon? My grandmother died. And I remember asking this other man of God to say, I wanted to fast because this is what is happening. I wanted to pray and have this sort of intimate moment with God for a week, but now this is what's happening in our family at the moment. He said to me, just pray as though you were fasting. Like the times that you would use to pray when if you happen to have been fasting, stick to those times and pray. It was difficult, but I prayed so hard. At some point I actually wanted to give up with the medical procedure because they ban them. I'm just gonna get the word and put it somewhere. There's a word for that procedure. I remember I wanted to give up. Honestly speaking, it was tiring, it was emotionally draining, and I just wanted to stop. But another lady said to me that you can't, because these genital warts, as they grow bigger and spread all over your genital area, you're going to have sorry about that, there was a knock. So as much as I wanted to give up and stop with the whole procedure and be like, you know what, I'm no longer doing it. If this is going to, I don't know, I actually don't know what was the plan. I actually didn't have a plan, but I was just drained that I go to the hospital, they re-inject me with needles to prepare you for the theater, and then it doesn't happen. So this other lady said to me that those things can cause you a cervical cancer. I think that's when I sort of got a wake-up call. But all along I was praying, asking God for forgiveness, because I felt as though God was punishing me. He was not actually punishing me. This was a learning curve for me. And yeah, man, eventually I was admitted. And unfortunately this time, I was admitted on the 27th of November 2013. This was the day before my birthday. So I actually went to theater on the 28th, on my birthday, on my 23rd birthday, but 22nd birthday. And I remember not even wanting to think about the fact that it was my birthday. It's just another sister who came. I actually thought the worst was over now that I had came out of the operation, or I don't know, I think operation is quite a big word. Let me just call it a medical procedure. I thought the worst was over. Okay, at this point now I'm using those medical pads because there's fluid that is coming out from down there. And I'm also on medication. There is a pill that I would insert. What is it called? I think it's called a suppository, if I'm not mistaken. That would literally kill the pain, but it was just for temporary. Yeah, so I remember going to Joburg, thinking that the worst was over when the worst had just begun. I think for about a month I was sick. Now this time I was in pain. I was just weak, man. A part of me was a bit relieved that, you know, we've done that and I can no longer worry about that. I must just now worry about healing. So because I'm now on medication, it was quite a lot of medication that I was taking. Most of them were pills. And when you take pills, what happens to your urine when you don't drink water? It becomes acidic. So every now and then when I go to the toilet, my urine would burn the heck out of my skin. It was such a terrible time. There was one Sunday morning I woke up, I sat down and I watched TV. Obviously gospel music on that morning. And I was revived and I said, I'm going to church. Because what I usually did, every morning when I wake up, I take a bath. Just so that I'm clean all the time. I woke up, I watched TV and I was so revived. I was like, I'm going to church. I went to church. Church is just a walking distance from where I was staying. But walking for me was a lot. I think because we were late, I had to wait for my little sister to take a bath so we can go together. So going to church, we took a taxi. Coming back, we walked. Yeah, I got home, I wanted to die. I was in pain. I think the friction from walking, I was just in too much pain. And I was full of regrets, man. I don't want to lie. Throughout this time, I was full of regrets. I wish I could turn back the clock and fix my mistakes, but I guess it was a little bit too late. I had to learn from those mistakes. I had to learn from the pain that I was going through at that time. So one would ask, why this video now after 9 years? I was sick, I think 2 weeks ago. I had a terrible flu. I lost weight. I'm sure you can tell with my face that I've lost so much weight. Now, not only here, I've also lost weight. I think also from unemployment. I remember walking. I think I had just left the kitchen going outside. My parents were sitting here. I was just walking slowly. And I couldn't feel myself anymore because, like I said, I've lost so much weight. They looking at me, I'm thinking, I actually laughed alone. I'm thinking, maybe these people are worried, they think I'm sick again from the STI and not necessarily flu. Because this time I had a throat infection, so I couldn't eat. Firstly, I'm afraid of being sick. So whenever I'm sick, I just become off. So if it's just normal flu, I would deal with it. Like I had flu again, I think from last week, Saturday. And by yesterday, I was sorted. So really, when it has your throat infections and other stuff, I was just not having it. I lost weight. I was not okay. I was sad that I'm sick. So me walking slowly, being unable to eat, I look at them and I'm thinking, what if these people are here thinking, what if our child is sick again and STI again? I mean, I think I'm just saying the things that we put our parents through. I know I was in pain at that time, but looking at them whenever I was not okay, whenever they had to take me to the clinic, it was sad for me. I remember one day I had an exam on Monday morning and I was here Sunday. I wanted to leave. I was not feeling well, so they had to quickly rush me to the clinic before the procedures and whatnot. They had to rush me to the clinic. Coming back, my dad was like, "You're not going back to Mafeking." And I said, "No, Papa, thing is I'm writing tomorrow. I have to prepare for the exams." And he said, "When you come out of the exam room, I want you to come home." And I said, "Sure, I'm coming back home tomorrow." And guess what? I didn't come home. I stayed there. I called them to say, "Listen, I'm okay. I'm really fine." Because they were so worried. I mean, the look on their faces when they had to let me go. Those are the things that we put our parents through. Like, they were not there with me when I was having fun and doing this that I was not supposed to do. But, I nearly said the swear words, but really, I think it's not fair what we tend to put our parents through. I mean, they will be telling you to stay away from boys and girls. I'm not going to be biased and say stay away from boys. When they say stay away from boys and girls, they know what they mean. So it was an experience and a half for me, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful that it happened. And really, I've never heard this from not anyone, but like most of the people that I cared about in my life knows the STI story. Like I remember I was working at a restaurant. I was very new there, and I was just in the kitchen having a conversation with this other lady, and I told her, the child, I just came out of, like, it was just now, just over a year and a couple of months. I was telling her that when you get a chance, if you, like, things, we cannot tell people not to have sex, but now I said to her, listen, safe sex all the time, unless I don't know what, but I told her the whole story. I told her every single detail of what I, thing is, I didn't want this video to be this long, but unfortunately, but wow, if we could have a sit down situation chat. You know what, I'm gonna leave this here for today, but yeah, man, you might not have noticed, but I had a wonderful time telling this story. But I think I will tell it better in person. When we're sitting down, I will give you every single detail of what I went through. Not because I want to scare people, but simply to say to people that take care of yourself. At some point in my life, I was blaming, not in my life, but at the time when I was sick, I was blaming this guy. But I had to take accountability. I think the minute I started taking accountability, it worked. It really worked for me to say, okay, you were supposed to protect yourself. You were supposed to protect this person because you said that you love him. So it's not his responsibility alone to make sure that you guys are safe. It was both your responsibility. So yeah, man, it's okay. Went through what we went through. Oh, I went through what I went through, and I wouldn't wish it for anyone. Literally, that was the worst experience ever. Even though people do not practice, I'm not saying about myself, I'm just saying that people out there do not practice safe sex, even though they know the truth. But yeah, it is what it is. Kindly subscribe, hit the bell for notification, like, share, and you know how it works here on YouTube. So I will see you definitely on my next upload, and next time, what we're gonna be talking about, we're gonna be talking about the fact that I dated this other guy. It's a long story that I'm gonna try and as well. I don't want this kind of long videos. I dated this guy who lied and said he has 2 kids, only to find that he's got 6 kids in total. When I had lied saying that I've got 3 kids because I didn't want to be in a relationship at that time. And I eventually told him that, listen dude, I don't have kids. I was lying, and it was like good for him. This was his chance to say to me that, no, I was actually lying, I've got 6 kids. But Zulu people and these, bye for now. I love you guys so much, and thank you so much for watching this video. Kindly, like I said, share with the people that you love, and if you maybe need some information that maybe I couldn't disclose here, you can go to my social media pages, just inbox me and I'll see how I can assist. Not in a professional way, but from my experiences. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Bye.